Salut les étudiants! Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. The purpose of this video is to give you some guided practice with the Passé Composé with Avoir in French. Before we do that, before we get to the practice, be sure that you've studied the topic from your textbook. You can also Google the topic and you'll find lots of websites that explain it and give many examples, as well as great YouTube videos that do the same thing. So be sure that you've studied first and then come here to apply what you've learned. Before we get to the practice or the application, let's just do a quick review. What is the Passé Composé? Remember, the Passé Composé is used in French to talk about completed actions in the past. In English, that would be things that you did or someone else did. And in English, that past tense, the verb forms will usually end in ed unless there are exceptions. So I worked, I studied, I played, I trained. Notice the ed ending. Okay, so the equivalent of that in French is the Passé Composé. To form the Passé Composé with regular ER infinitives, it's pretty simple. We use an auxiliary verb. We use the verb avoir, or a helping verb. You have to know how to conjugate the verb avoir to do the Passé Composé. Next, you take the infinitive and you convert it to a past participle by removing the ER from the infinitive and replacing it with the E accent aigu. So parler, to speak, becomes spoken. That one's irregular in English. So I spoke would be j'ai parlé. Oublier, to forget, becomes oublier, forgotten. Travailler, to work, becomes travailler, worked. If I say in French, j'ai travaillé, it literally means I have worked, because you know avoir, this is avoir, so j'ai, I have, and then here's the past participle, worked. Just know that when you do that in French, it really means I worked. Okay, so let's go ahead and start the practice. So I'm going to give you a prompt here. I'm going to give you the subject and the infinitive and convert this to the Passé Composé with avoir. So how do you say I spoke? Remember, you literally have to say I have spoken, but it means I spoke. La réponse, j'ai parlé, I spoke. Étudier, how do you say in French I studied? Remember, you literally have to say I have studied, but it means I studied. J'ai étudié. Aimer le film, to like the movie. So how would you say, let's say you went to the movies and you want to say I like the movie. J'ai aimé le film. Payer, to pay. How do you say I paid? J'ai payé. Remember, literally it means I have paid, but it means I paid in conversation. Manger, to eat. How do you say I ate? In English, it doesn't end in an ed. It's irregular in English. We say I ate. J'ai mangé. Let's change the subject here. Tu travaillais. How would you tell someone you worked? Tu as travaillé. Tu as travaillé. You worked. She listened. Elle a écouté. We ate. Nous avons mangé. They traveled. Ils ont voyagé. For IR verbs, to form the past participle, you take off the IR and usually you replace it with an I unless it's irregular. So if you want to say I slept, j'ai dormi. Apprendre. For some verbs, the past participle is irregular and you just have to memorize it. There's no way around that. So if I want to say I learned, you have to know that the past participle of apprendre is appris with an IS ending. So I learned would be j'ai appris. This is a list of just some other irregulars to give you more examples of some that you will have to learn. So apprendre, appris, avoir, eu, boire, bu, comprendre, compris, courir, couru, être, été, faire, fait, pleuvoir, to rain, plu, and then prendre, pris. Okay, that's it for this video. Remember, go back to the beginning of the practice part. If you didn't get them all right when I told you the answer, go through it again until you can predict all of the right answers, and then you've really learned something. That's it for this video.